Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So exciting things yesterday happened for me. I'm going to start with the afternoon rather than the morning. The afternoon I took my mum out finally to go see all of the new flowers that are in bloom at Leonardsley Gardens. It's incredible over there. There's lots of trees and flowers that are not native to the UK because they have been collected over centuries and planted, and this place is truly incredible. I went there for the Christmas light show that they did, which was also amazing. But my best bit of it, obviously I love going out with my mum, which was nice, but we found a drunk bumblebee. He was high on the sauce and decided to take a nap. Yes, he was scooped up in this little flower, look at him. But it's actually a known fact that bees, when they have been busy, as it were, where the expression comes from, they do take naps in flowers. And he did lazily start cleaning his antennae at one point, but I was over the moon to get such a fantastic close-up shot, because normally you're like trying to catch the bee, so this was really cool for me. But in the morning I gave my very first interview. I was contacted by Shauna from The Vintage Read, another YouTuber. As you can imagine from a title like that, she gives reviews, very funny reviews on all types of books that have been released. In addition to this, she does do videos on very gossipy things, and she's a fan of the royal family. So of course, as you can imagine, we have plenty to talk about. But she's starting up this new series where she's going to be getting various people onto her channel, authors of books, all sorts, and obviously gives them interviews. And I was very blessed and very privileged to be her first interviewee. Obviously, I had my experience of being the interviewer as well for the first time in April, when I got to go to Castle Goring and interview the fabulous Lady C because of the release of her new book, which of course Shauna has done her very own book review on, and it was even commented on by Lady C herself, who was very appreciative of the review. You can't get much of a better recommendation than that, the lady herself. So the shoe was on the other foot, that I couldn't have had a more brilliant time. Shauna is hilarious. She's really, really funny. She asked me lots of questions, obviously to do with the royal family, thoughts on some current news stories that are floating about to do with the Montecito mayhem. But also she asked me questions about how I started up YouTube, how it came to be, the pitfalls of being a YouTuber. So if any of you might be interested in watching that, that will be coming onto Shauna's channel at 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, Australian time, which will be 11:30 UK time. But it's not just me that had an excellent Wednesday as well. Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, did something yesterday that has my husband dripping with envy. And that was because she went to London and she had her photograph taken on the famous crossing on Abbey Road, made famous by none other than the original and the only Fab Four, and that was of course the Beatles. Sophie looked bright and beautiful as she attended an Orbis Visionaries reception at Abbey Road Studios as part of her role of Global Ambassador for the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness. The Duchess has supported many charities and organisations across a couple of decades that centre around the prevention of blindness and other eye-related diseases and complications. The subject is very close to Sophie's heart, as her daughter Lady Louise was born with esotropia. This is where the eye turns severely inward, and she had to have several operations as a child. I think going through that with her then young daughter made her very understanding and compassionate towards other parents, but not just parents, children, but other adults that also experience eye health problems. It can be a very scary time. And whilst Lady Louise has perfect sight now due to the great medical care that she received, it made Sophie want to use her platform to push for eye health care being more readily available to everyone, especially in countries that have been severely affected with poverty, where eye conditions that are easily treatable in the UK in those countries often lead to blindness. Sophie has spent over 20 years supporting various causes surrounding eye health, treatments, and of course, the little helpers that many, many people rely on. Like her dress, Sophie is always a delightful ray of sunshine, which we kind of need before I get on to the next story. A clash of cultures, high standards, high expectations, and staff that needed to be coddled. These are all things that came out in defence of Meghan when bullying allegations surfaced. And unfortunately for her, a former palace, a senior staff member, has recently given an interview back in their native Australia and has let slip a few details. This is bad timing for Meghan because it is bringing all of the bullying allegations again to the surface. And the problem is, because Meghan is continuously going through staff, people can definitely see that there is no smoke without fire. We were told at the time it was simply just down to a clash of cultures. I'm sorry, how many of us have worked over the years with people from different countries all around the world? It's got nothing to do with the clash of cultures and everything to do with bad management and bad bosses. As for Meghan's high standards and high expectations, they said it's because she's used to running a tight ship being a Hollywood actress. She was never a Hollywood actress, and the fact is that these people worked for the palace, for the Queen, for Prince Philip, for King Charles, then Prince Charles, Prince Andrew, who's known for being a bit of an arrogant tool at times. They worked for the family for a number of years, but they were not up to standard and didn't meet a D-list cable TV actress's high expectations. Then, of course, you've got Meghan, who reportedly said, "I'm not here to coddle staff." Well, it's funny that the same woman expects everyone to have coddled her. A lot of the complaints on Oprah that Katherine didn't coddle her, William didn't coddle her, she was just left, even her own husband didn't coddle her. Meghan was left to just throw herself from room to room, from floor to floor, and to cry a lot. We heard it all except the truth, and that was staff were left shaking and terrified and quitting left, right and centre. It's clear to me that Meghan is a horrible boss and not a nice person to work for. She treated palace staff so badly, they even had their own survivors club called the Sussex Survivors. People have got to remember that Meghan did not want that bullying report released. Meghan and Harry wanted the names of the people that had dared accuse her. Much the same as Harry with his court case, he wanted to know the exact person that had made the decision to strip his security within Ravek. Can you imagine what Meghan would have done if she had the members of staff's names and what their complaints were? I'm sure it would have ended up in Finding Freedom, Endgame. No doubt Sussex Squad would have been aware at some point who it is. And we know the level of abuse that people get that call out the slightest things to do with Meghan's behaviour, let alone people that are actually accusing her of bullying. If it had come out exactly who it was that said what, their lives would have been made hell by Meghan's little black book of revenge and all of her flying monkeys and attack dogs. Some people say there is no proof, but too many people have come forward, including Jason Knuff, who was then working as Harry and Meghan's communications secretary. In emails that have been released that were sent to Prince William's secretary, he explained that he was very concerned that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of their household in that very same year, and said that she seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying X, Y, and Z because he didn't release the names, and seeking to undermine their confidence. Witnesses said that they saw Meghan be awful to staff in Australia. I think it was Amy Pickerel that was with her when she went to that market in Fiji. Something triggered Meghan and she gave the word and she stormed out. In Tom Bower's book, he said it's because UN women were there and Meghan still had a bee in her bonnet because they didn't make her an ambassador like Angelina Jolie or Emma Watson. She was nasty to a member of staff publicly, so badly so that one of the royal reporters saw the person in question crying in a car afterwards. Meghan, I believe, is a little bit more than just being a mean girl. I think she's a bit of a tyrant to work for. And the thing is, her husband did her no favours when it came to spare his autobiography. Harry criticised the staff for the fact that they were slumped over their desks and crying like it was their fault. But that is not normal behaviour. Your members of staff should not be slumped over their desks crying. And if they were, you should be very concerned about the reasons why. Harry said it was such a disdain in his voice when he spoke about it. But he has confirmed that these professional men and women who had worked for the Prince and Princess of Wales, the Queen, Prince Philip, were left in such a state. Many sources gave information to Tom Bower and Valentine Lowe for their books. And you've got to remember that Harry and Meghan have not sued either author. So what do I always say to you guys? If they do not sue, it's because it's probably true. Various people told both authors that they felt humiliated, they were belittled, they were screamed at, they were left shaking in tears. One of them received so many phone calls from Harry and Meghan abusing them. Phone calls were apparently every 10 minutes while they were off duty and out to dinner, to be screamed at over and over and over. And then this continued after that evening and went on for days afterwards. Nobody should have to put up with that. We know that they lost quite a lot of staff when they were just still working royals, and this was obviously with a lot of protection from the palace. The fact is that Harry and Meghan are still losing staff at an incredible pace at Archewell. Makes me think, I don't think there's been too many changes in her attitude. In news that's come out, they have 2 new hires for Archewell, one US based and one UK based. Both of them are men. Perhaps they might stand a better chance against Meghan and her vendettas, especially it always seems to be against female members of staff. If you do not treat your staff well, they will quit, they will leave. If you are a good employer, the chances are, many people know it's hard to find a good employer, they will stay and they will be loyal. Harry and Meghan have a revolving door of staff, and that tells you absolutely everything. You don't need to have witness statements of exactly what's gone down, because you know Harry and Meghan have got their NDAs absolutely watertight. But the thing is, I think Harry and Meghan use NDAs so they can treat people absolutely appallingly, and then those people can't come forward or say anything. The big fear that Meghan has now got, I would say, over former palace members of staff is she's got no hold over them anymore, nor does Harry. They're not coming back. They've burnt every single bridge with the royal family. The royal family are not going to go out of their way to continuously protect these two after the damage that they have caused professionally and personally at several members of that family over the course of the last 4 to 5 years. Samantha Cohen, otherwise known as Samantha the Panther, she worked for the Queen for the best part of 20 years. She has given an interview to the Australian Herald Sun that she was one of 10 people that were questioned during the investigation over Meghan's bullying. Samantha has previously said that it was like working for teenagers and they treated staff harshly. They were never happy with anything. You only have to look at Meghan's face at most of the royal engagements to believe that this was definitely true. She was always scowling at someone and she always looked like that she was ready to start a fight. No wonder Harry looked like he was having the life sucked out of him most of the time, but it's not him I feel sorry for. It was the people that obviously got it in the neck. The people that did everything to make her life easier. In the interview, Samantha disclosed the fact that the Queen had asked her to help Meghan settle in, and the position was only to stay for 6 months. But she had to stay for 18 months because nobody wanted to replace her. Harry and Meghan, this is my thoughts, Harry and Meghan had treated the staff so badly that not a single member of staff or people that they knew had wanted to come in and take the position of Samantha. They were like, hell no, I'm not working for them, no chance. So she got stuck with them for 18 months, but it gets worse. They finally found someone that they were going to train up to replace Samantha so she could finally get away from them. And they quit in the middle of the Africa Pity Tour. Remember, Harry and Meghan took Tom Bradby for a royal engagement. This was meant to be a royal tour about promoting the countries, the people that they met, the causes, the charities. But Harry and Meghan took Tom Bradby to make a documentary about themselves on the taxpayers' dime. It was the sob story of how Meghan had never been asked if she was okay, and Harry told the world that he hates cameras, he hates the camera click. Every time he hears it, it takes him back to what his mother endured and suffered. This is a man that is seldom away from a photographer or a camera crew these days. But the big deal with Samantha releasing this bit of information is, what exactly did Harry and Meghan do to that person, or what did they witness that made them leave in the middle of that South Africa tour? You've just been given, imagine it, this incredible opportunity to work for the royal family. This would be a huge pinnacle in anybody's career. But whatever happened, whatever went down was so bad, you didn't even wait to get back to English shores before you said, no, I'm out of here. And then turned around and got a flight home and was like, toodles, no chance, you're on your own. So all of these stories that have come out with Meghan launching hot tea at a staff member at Admiral House in Australia, Meghan making members of staff cry, where members of the public and the press pack could actually see her do it. It makes you think, I'm sorry, I think there's a lot more truth to it. And Tom Bower said the fact that Samantha has come forward, and she said this in an interview, he believes that it's going to pave the way for more people to start to speak out, because Meghan has got no hold over them anymore. What can she do that she hasn't already done? The palace said that after the bullying investigation, whilst they weren't going to release it, that's tucked away for a rainy day, that they had put new protocols in place to protect staff. Surely that tells you everything. The thing is, I do think that the palace were at fault, because they should never have allowed Harry or Meghan to treat the staff like that. But this is where Prince William did not. You've got to remember, this is where it all started. Prince William and Katherine stood up to Meghan, as did the Queen, about the way that Meghan was treating people. This is what started causing the divisions, and then Meghan started playing victim. Then all of a sudden Katherine was mean to her, William hated her, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that Meghan was treating people around her like absolute dirt. And another point that I have on that is Meghan and Harry came back with a 30-page dossier explaining the reasons why they didn't bully the staff. Jack Royston, an article I read on Newsweek, he said that they had 30 pages. Now, if you're innocent and you hadn't done anything wrong and you hadn't bullied the staff, would you write 30 pages to defend yourself? That seems a little bit odd in itself, doesn't it? Now, Richard Palmer, another royal reporter, he's also given his very own interview, and he mentioned that Harry and Meghan would hold inquests after any public appearances. Basically, any appearance that they did, they weren't happy with it, they would hold a meeting afterwards to berate their staff about things that they did wrong, things that they needed to do. Could you imagine working under that sort of pressure? It's hardly surprising that they lost so many members of staff, but as I said, the fact that that revolving door is still spinning long after that they have left the royal family and the UK tells me that they are still treating people abominably. Even before Meghan had met Harry, there was a videographer that came forward that said that when she was on Suits, Meghan came for a photo shoot, and he said that she was rude, she was high maintenance, and she brought in friends with her that sat there looking and laughing at other people working on the shoot. He said it was like something out of Mean Girls. And this was before the power had gone to her head of being a royal girlfriend or a wife. People that come forward and say she's so sweet, she's so kind, she's so lovely are generally other celebrities or power players. The reason why Meghan is nice to them is because she wants something, or they are equally just as mean and as nasty as her. Which brings me to my final story. We have the perfect example for both of those scenarios. Two new people have got their jam. Yes, they have. You remember the horror film 30 Days of Night? Well, this is a new horror film. This is 50 Days of Meghan's Jam. Drip, drip, drip every single day until we get the full 50 out. ChrisJenner has received a jam jar from Meghan, surrounded by lemons in the same generic grey bowl. ChrisJenner is someone that Meghan will want to keep sweet because she wants something off of her. She'd want that Kardashian-style bank account, but also the promotion. We know that ChrisJenner is a very serious momager, and whilst you may not agree with everything that she's done and the ethics that are at play, she's managed to make all of her children incredibly rich. I think Kylie Jenner is a billionaire or very close. So of course Meghan wants some of that magic stardust. But the second person of someone being equally a mean girl just like Meghan, funnily enough, is also a former Deal or No Deal briefcase girl. And she has actually been cancelled because she is so mean and nasty. Yes, Chrissy Teigen is the latest celebrity stroke influencer to have received her very own jar of jam from Meghan. But she has also stolen that cringe crown I spoke about in my last video, well and truly off of Abigail Spencer, who looked like an amateur merely frolicking with her lemons and the bowl in the grass. No, Chrissy Teigen was like, you think that's cringe? hold my beer. It all started off so well and so nice. She had at least taken the jar of jam away from those ghastly lemons and the boring bowl. She then decided that she was going to make a bacon brie and jam sandwich. So far, so good. Then she shows herself eating it, chewing it, and dribbling the white cheese down her chin as she then feeds her husband. I personally take back the ick that I said about Nacho with him taking a tiny, tiny little bite with his teeth. He looks like the perfect gentleman's pose eating the jam. Or mind you, it was more to do with what he said, I love your jam, that was cringe. But no, this is the biggest ick. Wipe your chin. I don't need to see anybody masticating their food, let alone dribbling it like that. And the fact is, the way she smiles at the camera, she can see it's there. And let's be real, it looks like a porn film. It was absolutely gross in every possible way that something can be gross. And it is also gross that Meghan chose to pick Chrissy Teigen to promote her product. They say mean girls and birds of a feather, but this is to a whole new level. Chrissy Teigen got cancelled because of the horrible things that she said about people on the internet. One of them, who was then a 16-year-old girl, she literally told her to kill herself when she was being bullied. She targeted her and told her to commit suicide. That goes against Harry and Meghan's support of mental health, surely. But worryingly, and moreover, which is more appalling, where lots of people can't stomach Chrissy Teigen, is the posts that she used to make about children. I'm just going to show them here. You can pause them and read them. I'm not reading them out. They are very distressing and upsetting. But what I do not understand is if a male celebrity had posted those type of things, the police would have raided their house and they would have had every single electrical device, their phones, computers, confiscated and checked. She has deleted all of these posts, but as people know, Twitter, the internet, it's there forever, and it's not something that people are easily going to forget. Given what I've just said, she's not exactly someone that I think that you would choose to promote your new product, especially when you're a so-called advocate for mental health, for example. But then nothing about this promo launch for Megan's RO brand, American Riviera Orchard, or this strawberry jam makes sense. I said in my last video, why is she sending out these generic bowls that looks cheap of hamster bedding and lemons when she's meant to be promoting strawberry jam? Why is it that Meghan has chosen to do this now when she's got no products to sell? We don't even know if she's got a factory ready yet to make her jam. Meghan has got nothing on her Instagram account. She was only recently looking for staff that can manage RO, and I'm sure they'll get it wrong and they won't be up to her high standards. And the TV programme that she's meant to be launching alongside RO and her jam, her cooking programme, is being filmed. It's not even ready yet. Why has she done this now? I'll tell you why. It's got nothing to do with Meghan promoting strawberry jam. She's getting celebrities to promote her. This is what it's about. She's sent it to as many high-profile people that have, admittedly, not many of them have come forward at the moment. We've got the lower end and just friends. But it's about using celebrities to get her more notoriety in the celebrity world. It makes it look like that she's suddenly friends with all these A-listers and stuff because they're promoting her products. Trust me, this is Meghan just using jam to promote herself. Meghan using celebrities for self-promotion. Well, I guess they all play that game, really. Because if Meghan wanted to really promote jam, she'd take a leaf out of Buckingham Palace's shop's book, because they have just released their very own strawberry preserve promo. So what do you think, guys? Do you think that this was just purely coincidence? Do you think this is perhaps some clever marketing? Because as we know, strawberry jam has been in the newspapers and it has trended a few times across social media in recent weeks. Or do you think that someone at Buckingham Palace has decided to be a little bit petty and play Meghan at her very own game? I like to think so, don't you? So guys, that's it for me on this video. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.